Welcome back to Midas Letter Live. I'm back here with our special guest, Special Ed, who's just specially flown in from Scotland, where he's been golfing all week last week.
Yes.
And
yes.
how was that, Ed?
Well, it's quite an experience.
Are you a golfer?
As a matter of fact, I am.
Really? Scratch golfer?
No, I'm not a scratch golfer. That would be I'd be a little. I'd be exceptional if I was. I'm a hacker, but I'm a reasonable hacker.
A hacker. So you?
I have a 15 handicap. Okay. Do you know what that means?
I have no idea, Ed. I mean, I understand what handicap means.
Yeah. I think it means that about 20% of the time I shoot my handicap, which would be somewhere between 85 and 87.
Okay, I don't really understand
it. That would be like 13 to 15 over par.
Oh, okay, 13 to 15 over par.
Yeah.
So you're not even up to par?
If you're a scratch golfer, you're the top. You know, out of 100 people, there's very few that are scratch golfers. I'm just saying, scratch golf is a great score, shooting par.
Yeah, yeah.
And but anyway, you know what? We can talk about expert levels or competency levels all we want. Bottom line is, I visited St. Andrews and I visited Carnoustie and a couple other courses, and the British Open, the Open they call it, is going to be held at Carnoustie, which is where I golfed last week at this
Carnoustie.
time. Carnoustie.
Doesn't sound very Scottish.
Well, as a matter of fact, it's only 1,000 years old.
Oh, okay.
It's very Scottish.
Huh.
Carnoustie.
Carnoustie.
Ends in T-I-E. Carnoustie.
C-A-R-N-U-S-T-I-E.
Yeah, hit that.
Okay, let's see what Google's got for us. British Open package is still available.
Whoa! Excuse me.
That. Yeah.
And
that's an ad for Carnoustie 2018 Open.
And you know you're required to take to use a caddy.
Yeah.
And I had a delightful old Scotsman. Not old, he's younger than I am. So what the hell? and it was very. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun, and I shot a 95.
Well, that's above par, below par.
Par would be 72.
Oh.
And so I shot 95, which is well over par, but it's very difficult. It's one of the they claim it's the most difficult links course in the world. In the world, James.
So that's saying something.
So when we left the tee, he looked at me. He said, "What's your handicap?" And I said, 50. And he said, "Son, if you can," son, he didn't say son. He said, "Old man, no." He said, "If you can break 100, that's what we should strive for." And I shot 95.
Wow, that's not bad.
Yeah. Anyway.
We're showing on the screen. We're showing some Carnoustie golfing right now.
Yeah.
Some
and the British Open.
Yeah.
The Open, which is one of the world's major tournaments.
Right.
Is going to be held at Carnoustie this year. They rotate, and so every so many years it will go back to Carnoustie.
Okay.
And every 5 years it goes back to St. Andrews, which is where I played golf last Thursday. St. Andrews.
So this is Carnoustie.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so
that's a bit of a mess.
Well,
like
this is where it all began.
Really?
This is where it all. They've been playing golf there for guess how many years?
Well, 1,000, I'm assuming.
600.
600. Yeah. So first they built the place, and they said, you know what? The weather's crap. The fields are a mess. We're going to start whacking it up with golf clubs.
They built it. I think it's sort of they just started playing, and then the whole world came around it. Like in other words, something like that. It's pretty. Yeah.
Interesting.
Anyway, if you're a golfer, well, you know who was with me on the trip was.
Don't tell me, Mike Bleedy.
How'd you guess?
I don't know. I just have a sense about these things.
And his friend Brandon Body.
Oh, how is
and
Brandon?
They knew each other as children, and they played golf together. That's how
they played golf together as kids. That's how you become a scratch golfer, I'm assuming.
Well,
is Bleedy a scratch golfer?
I think they both had scholarships. Bleedy's like a 5 handicap.
What does that mean?
That means
he's pretty damn
could
good.
shoot. He wants to shoot in the 70s all the time, and he can shoot scratch golf. He can shoot par golf. And but in a course with a lot of wind, it's very difficult, especially if you hit it high. One of the advantages I have is that I hit it low and it rolls a lot. It's like playing on cement.
Huh.
It's very hard there.
I've only golfed a couple of times, and I got
can
very
tell.
drunk both times.
I know. You don't have to tell me. I can tell by your questions. By the comp.
And
by okay.
Let's talk about the thing that concerns most of our audience most, which
marijuana.
is the cannabis markets.
Now, since they've said they've legalized it, we really have not seen much to the upside except weed. Weed propelled itself to a new high last week.
Well, it did, and then it didn't.
Well,
I mean, if you look at the chart now.
I know.
Oops, I spelled
Well, here,
it wrong.
big cannabis goes public. MLCC index hits all-time high. June.
Yeah, well, that was
that date.
That's
but
right.
But look what's happened since.
To canopy growth.
Exactly. Look at 41. You know what? That's not a healthy looking.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll just point this
Can
out.
we go down to the 3-month view so you can see it better?
There's a trend line there, and it's been breached.
Yeah.
No, look. Probably a bigger chart. It looks a little more apparent. There's a definite change again there, and it's right.
So does it look to you like the market's maybe topped out here a bit?
Well, it's going to take some time to find out, but I still say, and now they've extended the legalization again, apparently, to October sometime.
Well, October 17 is the day that we buy it legally off the shelves in Canada.
Yeah.
So all that has done is put a date. That's the day it all starts to happen.
No, but could they extend that again?
Could they extend it again?
Sure, they could.
It's the government. The government can do what they want.
They can do whatever they want.
and they do.
No. When we go into new high territory like this.
Okay, wait a sec. I'm
put
just
that
going to
chart back up there.
Okay, I'm going to put a new.
Look at this. Can you look at this index in the red?
Yeah, I have to switch to Firefox or something because the old. That one's not
I'll have
working.
to excuse the viewers. I didn't have a chance to shave before the show.
Oh, I shaved for the first time in a week this morning. It was a great experience.
I understand you went camping.
Well, I wouldn't call it camping unless you consider a 3-bedroom, fully equipped house on 50 acres on the edge of a lake camping.
No,
if that was camping, I'm a camper, all right.
Yeah, you're a camper.
I was a happy camper. Yes, we went to Manitoulin Island, which was spectacular. Okay.
Okay. So this is what I'm trying to. Okay. Whenever this level here would have been the old high, and it looked like it was going to be a bit of a double top, and then it propelled through, but it just to fake everybody out, you would have expected if it was a true breakout, it would carry on. What happened? The next day, Friday, it gave it all back plus some, and then again, these red candles, right, are negative. Yeah. Obviously, the green candles are positive. I'd have to say that's very indicative of you see that's a. So I don't know. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look good.
So what would you say? Now that's technically speaking, looking at the chart.
Yeah.
Fundamentally, would you say it's safe to say that the market these days, with the state of information technology, generally prices in what it perceives as future fundamentals in a window of 3 to 6 months ahead of the actual event? So if I was to be interpreting this fundamentally, this would tell me that this is the market pricing in the fact that 6 months from now, cannabis will have been legal for 3 months, and the balance sheets of the cannabis companies are not going to reflect the massive demand that has been predicted by the investment banking research. Therefore, it's a sell. Secondarily to that, I think we're faced with the fact that we still have these 80 some odd dispensaries. Like if you go to weedmaps.com, I love to show this story because this is really the bottom line in many respects. See, you just can't go anywhere these days without something wanting to load you up with a, oh boy. Let's see here. Allow location. So, okay. Oops, it's in.
Here we go. Here we go.
We look at all of the dispensaries in Canada. This is Greater Toronto Region area, and there are some 80 some odd dispensaries that are still supplying cannabis illegally today. And look at that price, 99 bucks. Well, this one's 150 bucks an ounce down here, but it was $99 for an ounce.
That's as cheap as I've ever.
Yeah. So you divide 99 divided by 28. Yeah. And let's see, what's the cost per gram on that? It's $3.53 per gram. So if all of these dispensaries are selling marijuana at $3.53 a gram, my question for you is, why would I switch to the corporatized legal marijuana when my regular source that I've been getting it from for years is cheaper, closer, and faster to access? So, well,
one of the reasons I never really participated in, and this is going to answer your question in a sort of a circuitous fashion, I know people I could get pot for free. So like, why would I invest in something I can get it for free? Like, and I was wrong. I'll admit it.
Yeah,
viewers, I was wrong. But I'll tell you, like look, when I look at this, even though it isn't, you know, the thing about charts is that they don't exactly have to be, they're not, you know, 2 and 2 is equal to 4. There's a lot of, it looks like a double top starting to form. And if we ever break this line here, which it's looking more and more like we will. Now it may bounce off that, but if the next run gets only up to here and then breaks down, and look, I've seen a couple new issues come out the last couple days, like for instance, G-Tech came out on Friday.
Okay.
I think the funding was done at $1.50. It opened at $1.40 and it hit 95 cents today.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah,
it's a bit of a sell-off.
Well, it's 3 days of trading. It's traded 2 million shares. There's only 13 million shares in the float.
Yeah. Well, you know,
there's big money behind this company.
There's a lot of companies that go public, like in the last couple of weeks especially. JWCA, which is James E. Wagner Corporation, came out at $1.15, traded down to 80 some odd cents.
It's 86 cents today, I think.
86 cents today. MedMen came out at a $2.2 billion valuation, opened at $5.65, and within 3 days was down
$3.80 or something like that.
Four and a quarter. But you know, so my point is that the pattern is that new issuers are coming out, and they're basically running into a sell-off in the first few days.
You get the sense the temperature of this market's changing. It's not as hot.
Yeah.
So say it used to be hot, now it's a little colder, so the temperature is changing.
There you go.
There you go.
That's as profound as it gets.
Now look at the hydro. I see. No wonder I couldn't get up the hydropothecary. They changed the symbol.
They did.
Is that just to, you know?
That's just to lose you in the weeds.
To befuddle me?
That's just to befuddle you, Ed. Now here's JWC. This is where it went public.
Is it JWC or JWCA?
Well, the symbol is JWCA.
Okay.
The company name is James E. Wagner Cultivation Corporation, which we now refer to colloquially, just because of the mouthful factor, as JWC.
Yeah, that is quite a mouthful, isn't it?
Yeah, but you know, so here's a company that, you know, trading came out at $1.15.
Look at this. You got this lower volume here. You know, we had some big days here, but punch up G-Tech and GTEC.
Yeah.
And that's our Blady is the second in command, I think, on that one.
Okay, GTEC. Let's see what we got here.
G-Tech Holdings. There, you got it. It's down there. You can just click on it if you wanted to. But look, we got $1.10, down 19 cents today. It's only been trading for 3 days.
Okay, so let's look at the 5-day view.
Now, I was talking to a broker today. Well, you can't look at the 5-day because it's only been trading for 3.
Well, how about we look at the 1 day? It's showing me the 1 day.
Okay, but look. So apparently, so this is the 1 day here. 1 day right there. So I was talking to a broker. I said, "What happened here? It opened here at 1:30. Whoops. A little bit of an obstacle course here. It's, good. It's a good thing I'm
limber, agile.
Okay, so look at this. Somebody hit the market with a market order for a couple 100,000 shares. Mm-hmm. At least that's what he thought. Mm-hmm. Look at this, 120.95. Now I don't know who would do that.
Well, it looks like about just over 250,000 shares was sold in that one lot.
But I think one order was for a couple hundred. According to this broker, He was pretty astute.
And then there's a sell-off. Now somebody's buying it back, and the next volume is buyback. because it goes up to a buck 15.
Yeah, and then
settles back to a buck
20, and then drifting lower here. But you know, everybody that put money in on the IPO put it in at $1.50. So how are they feeling?
I would say that they're not exactly happy campers at this point. Now, wouldn't they be tied up though for 4 months anyways?
That's a very good point.
So at this point, I don't care what the stock price is doing. I certainly hope it's not selling.
Yeah, no, but now remember T-God.
Yeah.
T-God did the same kind of thing where
Let's
it was
up their chart.
Yeah.
Yeah, T-God. Well, no, T-God came out of the chute red hot.
No, it did not. Not red hot. Pretty hot.
This is where it started, right here.
No, it started right here.
No.
Yes, it did.
No.
Yes, it did.
No.
That's $4. That's the issue price. And then it sort of screwed around for two.
Let's see. T-God.
Oh, no, wait a minute. Maybe I got that wrong.
I'm pretty sure May 25th. Yeah, May 25th is the first press release.
But the point is, I think it took 6 days of trading around its issue price and just below it, and then it took off.
Yeah.
So some of the weak hands.
Yeah. No, this was the day it went public. What day did T-God go public, John? Do you remember?
We're just talking to our people walking around.
John, don't you remember?
Oh, what's that say?
Can't read it from here. Need my glasses.
Ottawa to legalize outdoor cannabis crops.
Uh-oh.
Really?
That's a bit of a...
Is that a news flash?
Front page of the Globe and Mail Boys.
Today?
Yeah. You know, so there's the thing. Let's talk
So what does that mean? I thought we knew that. I thought is that news or is that...
Well, I didn't think that they were going to license it for outdoor growing per se, because now it's like, okay.
Oh, they are.
So how can you compete with that? You just throw seeds in the ground, and who cares if it's only 7% THC? I mean, if we had John Fowler here,
right,
he'd say, ditchweed is ditchweed is ditchweed. It's always going to be ditchweed. People want premium flower. The bottom line is that outdoor marijuana in Canada is unlikely to have anywhere near an outcome where you would call it premium flower.
Well, can I just make a statement on that?
Absolutely.
I have a friend, and I'm not going to give any names out to you because of the ramifications, et cetera, et cetera. This gentleman, he's a little more sophisticated. He grows 3 or 4 plants a year for personal use. Personal use, maybe his friends come over, so keeps a little extra in hand. End of the day, he experiments in different types. So he's got the type that's going to make you sleepy. He's got
indica and sativa.
I don't know.
Blends. Okay.
I'm going to tell you stuff.
Different strains.
This is primo stuff. It grows in his backyard. This is high. This stuff, and I know I'm a user. No, it's good. It's better than 7%. I don't care what anybody says.
Okay.
So there's flour. This is flour.
All right.
Okay. So I think that's a misnomer. I think people think it has to be under the most strict conditions. I don't think so.
Well, no, I think I misspoke there slightly. Yes, there are places in Canada where you can grow good weed.
Apparently, one of them's London, Ontario.
And one of them's London, Ontario. But there are a lot of places where you couldn't grow weed to save your life in Canada, especially in the Arctic, especially up north. There are places where it's
Are you telling me you can't grow weed in the Arctic?
You can indoors.
Is that it? When did
the Arctic Marijuana Company. Now there you go. Aurora Cannabis launched their brand Aurora Frost.
Aurora Frost.
And that is
that like a horror frost?
No, that's not a horror frost, Ed.
Horror. Just so you know, it's HOAR.
Thank you for the clarification.
Just saying, if viewers look that up.
Yeah.
Like it's. There is such a thing as a hoar frost. I'm just saying.
I got it.
Okay.
So, anyways, T-God came out on fire. Now they're leveling off.
Yeah, but at a much nicer, nice premium. So what I'm trying to suggest is maybe in the case of something like G-Tech, which has a lot of good people around it, and there's some, some quality people in my estimation. When the volume starts to drift, Sorry, I got distracted. When the volume starts, after a few days, maybe a week, maybe 8 days, that when the drying, I think you'll see a lift. I still do.
Okay, so where's the price going to be in 3 months?
Well, ask me in 3 months. Ask me in 3 months.
Damn, I tried to trick you there, Ed, but you're a little quick on the draw there.
Yeah, no, I was born at night.
Was it last night?
It wasn't last night. Not last night.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah. Anyway, it's nice to be back. Nice to see you.
Yeah,
you're looking
too.
very refreshed.
Thank you. I had 3 days off.
Yeah, what did you do up there?
I fished.
Really?
I fished. I threw a fishing lure into the lake at the end of a fishing pole.
Yeah.
With a very sophisticated little spinning device on the end.
So if I went fishing because my heritage is Polish, would I be a fishing pole? So.
Milewski is Polish? I thought it was Ukrainian.
It's Polish. SKI is usually Polish. SKY is Ukrainian usually.
Oh, no
Or
kidding.
Russian, yeah. That's right, that's right.
I knew a guy named Myron Glushka out on the prairies of Canada.
Glushka?
Yeah, he was a Ukrainian.
Yeah.
But
Usually
so what
when
happens when
it
it ends with an A?
When it ends with A, it's usually feminine.
Well, he was not feminine.
Like for instance, if you notice on Russia, if their name ends in I, it's the male, and Navratilova, usually they distinguish between the male and the female. Moving target here. They do.
Okay.
They do.
All right.
No, but I wanted to bring back the thing about you were talking about fishing, and I was talking about golfing. So if you're on the first tee and you look around and you don't know who the fish are,
yeah,
you're the fish. And that's because usually there's a golf game, there's a betting game in golf, and you're trying to size up now who's going to get tapped here for some money.
You mean who's the sucker?
Well, who's the fish? Yeah, fish. Like some
Who's
types
the
of
mark?
some types of fish are called suckers.
Right.
There you go.
Have you ever caught a sucker? Ugliest fish I've ever seen.
Don't say that fast.
I can't believe people eat those things.
Okay.
Anyways, Ed, did you
right
happen
along.
to catch the news today? And I'm going to pull up their symbol right here, just in case we forget who we're talking about while we're talking about them, because that's been known to happen too.
Right.
The symbol is ACB, currently the second largest cannabis company on the planet.
$200 million line of credit.
Well,
is that what you're going to say?
No, potentially deal worth potentially $250 million because it's a $200 million debt facility, but with a $150 million term loan with a $50 million revolving line of credit. Now,
wow.
A question for you is, why would a company like Aurora need a $50 million revolving line of credit if they're growing that much marijuana and they're selling it?
Well, you know, I've had chats about this company, and they've done a lot of things. They've made a lot of acquisitions. You know, maybe
there's more acquisitions on
acquisitions,
crosshairs.
But I you know, my concern would be like, what, you know, that's a lot of money. You start putting debt on the balance sheet.
Yeah.
And then you know, if revenues don't follow through, like it's like who are the two pharma companies? There's Concordia and the other
Valiant.
Yeah, and didn't they? You know, they just
Valiant was just a debt pig.
Exactly.
I mean, it still is over $1 billion on the balance sheet.
I would caution.
Okay, so
I don't. You know, I got to be honest. I don't like what I see here when you show me this chart over here.
What with the
like this
fall off?
You know, you get this move up, and you get a fall off, and you get a move up, and there's a trend line here, and it looks just me. It's getting harder and harder, and that red candle looks very. You know, we had a. Anyway, it just doesn't look exactly what I'd like to see.
So would you be a buyer
or a short seller?
A short seller.
I don't.
Would you?
Well, if I don't own any stock, I couldn't sell it unless I short.
Well, you could borrow it.
If I could borrow it and then sell it.
You could borrow it. What's the borrow rate now for Aurora stock?
Probably,
you know?
I don't know, but because of the exchange it's on, you have to borrow it. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
You can't short naked on the Canadian exchange, at least not unless you're somebody who's, let's just say, more talented at keeping the fact of your nakedness masked. That's I thought that might get your attention.
What? We're gonna do a beach show in the summer, aren't we? Well,
Yeah.
it is the summer, but it doesn't feel like the summer.
Well, it's
What kind of weather did you have up there?
actually I had cold and miserable. Cold and
Really?
miserable, except the last day. Suddenly it got about 1 in the afternoon. The clouds all disappeared. It stopped raining. The temperature jumped about 10 degrees, and it was instant summer. And so it was fantastic.
Yeah.
The
Wow.
the hydropothecary or the Aurora debt deal. It's a non-dilutive financing with a tier 1 bank.
Tier 1 being BMO.
Well, being one of the top 5 chartered banks in Canada, there's only 5
6.
tier 1.
There's only 6.
6? Is there 6?
The National.
Oh,
No, I think I mean,
no offense, National. I didn't know you were in the group.
better to
Okay.
be 6 than 7.
That's true. 7th is what is it? Fraser said earlier. Being 2nd is just being the first loser.
You ever hear the thing about if you're in a race and you overtake the person that's in 2nd place, what position are you in?
First.
No, you're in 2nd place because you've overtaken the guy in 2nd place.
Oh, I see. That's one of those tricky ones.
That's one of those things where
Ed, tell me this. What does what does YES spell?
yes,
What does EYES spell?
eyes.
Damn your eyes. There's one of those silly things going around on the internet.
Really?
Anyway, so and other news, Ed.
Okay.
Just want to run, we tried to get Ed, we couldn't get him. We tried this one on you before, didn't we?
Well, I don't know. Try it again.
It didn't work the first time. There's no chance of it working the second time. The Hydropothecary Corporation
Yes.
announced that 4 zones of its 250,000 square foot greenhouse expansion are now licensed by Health Canada.
Only 4 zones. Of how many?
That remains unclear. It says 4 of 10 zones.
Oh,
Here
4
we
of
go.
10.
Sebastian
4.
St. Louis, the CEO, said 4 of 10 zones have plants in and are fully operational.
So approximately 40% of the.
Well, I would say exactly 40%.
Okay.
4 out of 10. Good,
Okay.
Good. Nice math work there. So Hydropothecary, let's take a look at their
Okay,
stock and see if it's making a
now
difference. They also changed their
did-
symbol.
Yeah, to
Hexo.
Yeah, I've been trying to follow it, and it
Does that
doesn't
mean
show
something to you?
Hexo.
Hexo. I was wondering why they'd pick that symbol. Like THCX was their old symbol. That was a great symbol.
I thought it was.
HEXO. I'm sorry, I just do not see the reason for that. And
You know what?
let's see.
I don't like. It just looks like it's.
The market hasn't responded favorably, obviously. That's the trading to date. Started off up here, $5.30 a share,
Yeah.
and now
I want to just make a point here to the viewers
assuming there
that
are.
I'm not trying to. Assuming there is a view, assuming you're out there, whoever you are. I'm not saying I'm negative on what I'm looking at are all these charts, and they just look like they're toppy and maybe they're rolling over a bit. Because the fundamentals are ahead of the valuations. I'm sorry, the valuations are ahead of the fundamentals.
Right. Cool. Now, what did you make of the news that Canada has announced today that it's going to legalize cannabis for outdoor growth? What do you think that does to the whole supply scenario going out, well, let's call it a year, where you can grow outdoor marijuana?
And if you let's say you're a bit of a horticulturist.
Let's say you're good at it, and you're like your friend there who can
yeah,
actually grow great weed.
and you can get the right seeds, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
You can actually start to compete.
Well, one could. One might
Well,
expect.
doesn't that just dilute the whole thing? In other words, it's not like making a still and making Johnny Walker, whatever. You know, like for instance, I don't know. I just don't think it's going to end as well as everyone thinks. That's what I'm just saying.
One of our illustrious regular audience members, Hector Lopez, says, I bet James was fishing last night. James, if I'm right, sniff. There you go. I was not fishing last night. I was fishing Actually, let's see. Technically, no, that was the night before. Never mind. I was not fishing last night, guys.
Did you catch any?
I caught 4. 4 fish. Do you want to know how big the biggest one was?
Yes.
About that big.
How big was the smallest one?
About that big.
Wow. What about
Actually, the one that was that big, I didn't even know I had a fish on. I thought it was just reeling in a cast.
now, did you catch some really big ones that got away?
Well, the monsters, yeah.
The monsters.
The monsters
Yeah.
all got away. Well, mind you, I was only using 8-pound test.
If you being demonstrative,
Oh boy, really?
I don't know. Where does this come from? I guess I'm inspired by alcohol.
Let's keep looking at the cannabis news, Ed. We'll keep ourselves out of trouble. Upon legalization of recreational cannabis, Supreme Cannabis wholly owned subsidiary 7 Acres will focus on the recreational market. I have been to 7 Acres. Have you been to 7 Acres? It's in Kincardine, which is pronounced Kincardine in most of Ontario, but I prefer to think of it as Kincardine.
Kincardine.
Yeah, it's a long way to go.
It's Kincardine.
Kincardine.
It's near where I live.
Nice little town. Windmills all over the place. Mennonites in carts. It's
No, those are the windmills the Ontario government put in.
Are they? Are they? You know, I was looking at the logos on the windmills to try to figure out who was responsible for this mess, and it's by most of them I saw it was Canadian Hydro was the company name. Canadian Hydro.
Canadian Hydro, not Ontario Hydro.
Not Ontario Hydro. Maybe Canadian Hydro is a subsidiary of Ontario Hydro, or should it be the other way around?
Maybe it was Kincardine Hydro or
Kincardine. Kincardine Hydro. Anyways, John Fowler, you know John Fowler, he's the head of Supreme. He says that his market research suggests that, based on the U.S. experience with legalization to date, cannabis flower will be the leading product category in the recreational market. Does that sound right to you?
In the recreational market, as it relates to
people buying weed.
People buying.
Well, if you want to get high, as a recreational user, are you going to buy dried flower? This is a quiz.
Hash oil.
Dried flower, resin or extract, or hash oil. Assuming somebody's actually making hash will probably become a product. Are you going to eat a cookie, or are you going to drink one of Dooma Wendschuh's marijuana beers? What would be your choice as a recreational cannabis user?
Probably the flower.
You'd prefer to smoke the flower.
I'd like to.
Now you can take a moment to think about this if you want, Ed.
Yeah. You know, I've had the opportunity to experience different forms of
abuse,
different forms of
sexual gratification.
Well, like Jesus, like no, I'd like to. Yeah, I'm no stranger to the flower.
All right. Well, I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. You know what? I guess they sell flour.
Ed, you know what we're going to do now? We're going to...
Let me guess.
Yes.
We're going to cut this short.
No, we're not. We're going to welcome our next guest.
Okay.
Who's coming to us via the Skype machine.
Right.
And...
I hope it comes in better than the Skype you got of me.
I don't actually have any information on who this is, but we'll find out as soon as we see them. Oh, wait, here it is. No, it's Eyal Barad. Eyal.
Hi, how you doing?
Fantastic. How are you doing?
Good, James. How's it going?
Eyal, could you? Are you on a laptop? Yeah, there we go.
I'm not. I'm actually on my phone out here in Israel. It's almost 11 p.m. Talking to you. How you guys doing?
Fantastic.
Nice to meet you.
We're curious about this your company, Cannabics Pharmaceuticals.
Yeah. What can I tell you about it?
Well, you've got 2 new scientists are further develop cannabinoid diagnostic tests for treatments of cancer?
Yeah. Cannabics Pharmaceuticals has been around for about 4 or 5 years. We're licensed out of Israel to do R&D with cannabinoids. And we've kind of taken on a big mission of and written our patent around high throughput screening and cancer and cannabinoids. So what we discovered a few years back is that actually when we studied cannabinoids, they had different combinations of cannabinoids had different effects on different cancers in different people. And that got us very curious, and we're about to finalize the building out of our lab out here in Israel to study that and collect big data on the various combinations and come out with both the diagnostic tools and treatments for cancer.
Fascinating. Can I ask you what kind of...
that's something.
Yeah, what kind of cancers have cannabinoids demonstrated some efficacy for?
Well, most of the cancers that we've actually studied have shown some sort of efficacy when properly applied and the right combinations have been applied to it. Once again, this is in the lab that we were doing on cell lines. Afterwards, we moved into kind of testing it on circulating tumor cells that we're extracting from blood samples, and that seems to be giving us similar indications. So we're continuing our research and developing out our line of products that we're going to come out with, and continuing to collect a lot of data from different sources, including from the patients. You know, we hope we're seeing what's going on right now with obviously with the FDA approving the first cannabinoid-based drug that can be prescribed by doctors, which we find to be a biggest problem, because even where there are regulations and doctors are able to prescribe, they do not have enough data to know what they're prescribing in cannabis. And we want to add that additional layer of data for practitioners to be able to make educated choices about their cannabis therapies.
Interesting. So what stage of FDA trials have been conducted with any cannabinoids at this point?
Well, we saw today GW coming out with their epilepsy drug with CBD that was approved by the FDA. So that's a big thing, and I think that will open the door for many other, you know, things and basically medications that will come out for different indications. You know, as they've probably solved a lot of the issues of the toxicity and the safety issues, I believe that will open the door for more and more activity in that domain.
Interesting. So how much, you're traded on the OTC under CNBX, correct?
Correct.
And do you have a listing anywhere else in the world right now?
Not right now. We are contemplating doing dual listing maybe sometime in Canada, and we are contemplating other plays on uplisting at some point, but nothing to notify right now.
Yeah, so okay, tell me how many, just from the perspective of an investor, how many shares outstanding and how much capital has been raised to date?
We have about 25 million shares outstanding currently, and we've raised about $4.5–5 million up to date.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
And what's the current price approximately?
There's
it's slightly under $1, so you know it's 95 cents, 96 cents, somewhere around there.
Huh, interesting. So how does this, and at what point does this make money, Eyal?
Well, I tell you, we have both looking at diagnostics, where we've understood that even healthy people over the age of 40 have circulating tumor cells in their blood. So we're considering actually commercializing further our diagnostic testing. We're looking at coming out with, I mean, we're currently licensed out one of our products, which is a slow release capsule, to one of our partners in Colorado, but continuing to think about developing other palliative, I'd say, products for the cancer market.
Okay. How long do you think it'll be before you actually can get a product to market?
Well, like I said, we already have one product to market, which we kind of tested the grounds very early on. It was a 50-50 product, so as we move more into the precision medicine domain, we look to kind of focalize more and come up with more precise products for specific people. But I think as we roll out, like I said, we are commercialized in a certain way, but we will continue to roll out stuff over time that will be money-making products.
Eyal, what percentage of the shares are controlled by insiders and friends of insiders? There's shares outstanding, 25 million. For how many shares do you own, for instance?
Well, I don't own directly any shares. I own shares through a holding company that's called Cannabics Inc. And I own a good chunk of those shares. But we are a pretty big group over there holding shares. Yeah.
Okay, great. Eyal, so are you going to be conducting tests in strictly Israel and the U.S., or will you expand to other countries as well?
No, we're actually looking at Germany very much. We have a partner in Germany right now that is doing some of our CTC, our circulating tumor cell counts on our behalf that we've done out there. So we're looking at the German market as well. It's a strong market that Canadian products are also there. Canada is very interesting to us. And we have other outreaching with a number of other countries as well. As regulation, I guess, in different federal regulated states comes out, we'll be reaching out to more and more countries.
Okay, great. Eyal, that's a fantastic introduction. We're going to leave it there and come back to you in a quarter's time. Thanks very much for your time today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Thanks, Eyal. Thank you. I expect the Eyal is A-Y-A-L. Is that correct?
E-Y-A-L.
Oh, E-Y-A-L.
Yeah.
Because I know a couple Eyal, A-Y-A-Ls.
Okay.
I guess that may be a little variation on a theme there.
Yeah. What do you make of that? Like, this is, I mean, this is to me very.
Is this what like when it's OTC? There's three components to the OTC. There's the pink sheets. There's the QX and the QB. And one of them is the more senior.
Well, the QB is the most senior.
And so then it's QX. Okay, so the pink
QB,
sheets is the
QX,
So which
pinks.
one is this?
It doesn't say.
Well, I
actually.
could look it up very quickly. You just got to go to the OTC bull markets and punch up the thing, and they'll tell you.
Yeah. Typically, if a company only trades on the OTC, we won't talk about it. We won't touch it. This one got in here. I don't know how we got it through the door, but
there you
generally
go.
we don't touch it unless it's on another.
Well, but the
exchange.
QX is I have some experience with companies over there.
Yeah.
And
what's your experience with OTC listed companies generally? Profitable or not profitable?
The company I'm involved with actually sells wellness products out of Philadelphia.
Okay.
And they sell things like the No-No and hair
The No-No?
The No-No hair removal system.
No. That's a no-no. Is that when they say that's a no-no? That's what they're referring to?
Well, you know, apparently some women don't like having like a lot of hair. So
some women don't like having a lot of what? Bald women?
No, not bald women. Hairy women.
No, hairy women wish they had less hair. They definitely want some hair.
Well, depends where it is.
Be bald women.
It depends.
This is a G-rated show. I don't know where you're going with
facial
that.
hair. Facial hair.
Facial hair.
Mustaches.
Women don't have facial hair.
Goatees.
Bearded
Beards.
ladies. What do you think this is? A carnival now? Oh,
just if you
boy.
I don't know. I think.
What else we got here? Oh boy, you know, we have another biotechnology company coming up at 4 o'clock, which I think is going to be kind of
fun.
Kind of fun, but you said you had to leave early because
well, I don't have time. You know what?
There's
a free meal and a free drink. More interested in the free drink.
Okay, you know what we're going to do now? We're going to cut to an interview we shot just a little bit earlier, Ed, with Dooma Wendschuh, who's the founder and CEO of Province Brands.
I just met Dooma.
Dooma was just here.
Great name.
Did you roll it? No, I'm waiting. Any minute now.
So should I do something right now?
Yeah. Can you do a trick? Can you do a? Hey, welcome back to Midas Letter Live. My guest has been here many times before. Some of you might recognize Dooma Wendschuh. He's the founder and CEO of Province Brands. Dooma, welcome back.
Thanks. It's an honor to be back. Really excited to see the evolution of your studio with these fancy new microphones.
Well, thank you. Yes, they're plugged in, but they work.
That's great.
Dooma, you also have been experiencing great leaps forward in your evolution. And
Absolutely.
Why don't you fill me in since we last talked? What's been happening?
Well, I wouldn't know where to start, but I guess I could say that recently we announced that we have acquired a capital pool corporation called Colson Capital. For any of your listeners or watchers who may not know what a capital pool corporation is, it's sort of like a bunch of guys get together and start a company that doesn't do any business. It just sits on the stock exchange waiting for someone like us to come along and use it as a vehicle to take their company public. So in fact, we will be taking Province Brands of Canada public very soon, and we'll be doing it through this vehicle, Colson Capital.
Great.
We can also announce now that we just signed this today, the funding for our going public raise will be coordinated by Paradigm Capital, which we're very excited by. So it will be a syndicate of several banks, but they're going to help us put together the syndicate, and they're underwriting the raise, which we will kick off in a few months prior to our going public activity. We're very excited to be working with Paradigm because they have a tremendous track record of being one of the leading banks in Canada working with the beer industry, specifically the craft beer industry. And we're not just a marijuana company, right? We're also a beer company.
Right.
And
Some
so
might
it's
argue more so a beer
more of a
company.
beer company than a marijuana company, exactly. So they were the perfect partner.
Great.
Yeah.
And so where are you at with product evolution at this point?
Well, we can announce something there as well. We have so many announcements today. Just today it hit the
embarrassment of
wires.
riches.
I know, it's amazing. Today it hit the wires that we have signed a strategic alliance with Element GP, which is a super premium provider of cannabis oils. Now, they're still an LP applicant in Canada. We expect them to get their producer license very soon. And you might wonder, why is a company like ours, which is made so much fuss about brewing a beer from the cannabis plant, why are we partnering with a company that makes marijuana oil? Well, we are announcing now a launch of a new line of products. So not only will we hit the market with our flagship beers brewed from the cannabis plant, but at the same time, we will launch a line of beers that are brewed from barley. They're alcohol-free, and they're infused with a premium marijuana oil. And a lot of that marijuana oil will come from Element GP, one of the top, what we expect to be one of the top oil producers here in Canada.
So this beer will have alcohol and THC?
We will never make a beer that has alcohol and THC.
Okay.
So it is alcohol-free. It's a non-alcoholic beer, but sometimes non-alcoholic beers still have like 0.3% of alcohol. Ours has none.
Right.
A non-alcoholic beer that will be infused with a marijuana oil. And this is the new product that we're launching. But the other product that we've been developing for a year and a half is actually a non-alcoholic beer brewed from the marijuana plant. You don't need to do an infusion in that case, and it also intoxicates you with marijuana. In either case, our beers will hit you in 10 minutes or less, just as quickly as alcohol. And we're still developing the second technology, but they will have a short duration of effect. And once that technology is perfected, we expect them to leave your system as quickly as alcohol. So you can enjoy 2 or 3 of our beers in an evening, which you can't do with most normal marijuana beverages, which could, a single dose of a normal beverage, right? You get very high because a single dose could keep you high for 6 hours.
You didn't want to talk to anybody. Just have 3 of these beers. You'll be catatonic in no time.
For the night, yeah, exactly.
Right. Let me ask you this. If it were legal to sell a product that included alcohol alongside THC, would you pursue that?
I think it would be great if that were legal, but I don't think Province would ever do that. We are really built on this mission to create an alternative to alcohol. And so we're not trying to get people more high. We're not trying to, make people have a crazy party night by marijuana and alcohol. We're trying to take those people who right now are doing something very unhealthy, which is consuming alcohol, and give them a safer and healthier alternative. And our beverages are designed in many ways to function as a healthier alternative to alcohol. They hit you as quickly as alcohol, and they leave your system as quickly as alcohol, which most marijuana beverages will not.
Right.
And in
or
the future,
most alcoholic beverages.
Sometimes that's true too. Depends how many you drink.
Well, so are you suggesting that this product potentially, we're forward-looking statements, safe harbor and all that,
yeah, of
potentially, if I drink a beer and it gets me high in 10 minutes, and then in an hour I'm no longer high, can I get in my car and drive?
I don't think we'd comment on that, to be honest. We don't think anyone should drive while intoxicated.
Right.
Now, there's been plenty of research that shows that driving under the influence of cannabis is safer than
makes you go
driving under
slow.
the influence of alcohol.
Have
yes.
you ever done it?
I probably have, but we don't want to encourage anyone to do that.
Right.
You should never operate a motor vehicle when you might possibly be intoxicated, even if you feel like it's safe.
I would argue one should never operate a motor vehicle, period.
That's what Uber is for.
Right, exactly. Oh, very cool. Okay, so when does this whole go public strategy unfold?
Going public strategy is likely to unfold before the end of this year, which is super exciting.
Yeah.
We're thrilled to be a public company. We think it's going to allow others to participate in what we're doing at Province. I probably had thousands of people contact us over our website, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, saying, what's our ticker symbol? And we reply saying we can only accept investment from accredited investors. Now, once we're public, that changes, and we can involve all of our fans out there in our quest to change the world. And so it's really, really exciting. It also comes with a lot of reporting requirements and transparency. And at Province, we pride ourselves on sort of a radical form of transparency, something that's not seen very much in cannabis startups. So it really aligns with our values to be putting out those sort of statements and having that kind of transparency as a public company.
Right. Okay, so you're targeting exclusively the recreational market, is that true?
I would say no, actually.
Okay.
A lot of people think that.
I've always considered beer very sort of therapeutic and medicinal myself, but
Me
I don't
too.
know about the rest of the world.
Yes, Winston Churchill, right, got a letter from his doctor to consume alcohol when he was visiting America because it was medically necessary for him during Prohibition, right? So, alcohol can be medicine, but we don't. Again, we're not an alcohol company. We believe that if you are a medical user of marijuana, you should have the choice, and in most jurisdictions where marijuana is legal, you do have the choice on how to consume your medicine. And in most jurisdictions, like in many of the states in the United States and all across Europe, marijuana patients would receive a prescription from their doctor, and he would clear them to consume marijuana, but he wouldn't specify how they could consume that marijuana. So if they wanted to smoke it, they could smoke it. When they go into the marijuana store, dispensary, whatever it's called, they could buy a vaporizer pen, they could buy a pill, they could buy a beverage. And Canada has never allowed marijuana beverages for medical patients, but most of these other jurisdictions have. And we really hope that Canada will follow suit and allow beverages for medical patients. But in other jurisdictions where eventually we will sell this product, we're looking to expand into Europe, not too long in the future, where there are medical markets. And this product, our beers, can be sold right alongside any other medical marijuana beverage or any other medical marijuana product. I mean, look, your doctor says you need marijuana. How you consume it is up to you. And it's probably a lot more convenient to enjoy a cold, refreshing beer than it is to step outside and smoke a joint.
Okay, so under the new Bill C-45 that was recently enacted.
October 17th. How exciting is this?
Well, it's exciting, and it's also, I mean, there's a lot of sort of trepidation out there because there are some, let's just call them unresolved loose ends, so to speak. For example, who can sell cannabis and who can't, and in what form can cannabis be ingested recreationally and what forms it can't. And so my question for you is, by your understanding of Bill C-45 at this point, are you allowed to consume alcohol-infused beer?
C-45 is very clear that you cannot mix alcohol and marijuana, which again we would never do. That's not what our products are about. And C-45 further is very clear that on this first sale of marijuana products, which will be October of 2018, October 17th, 2018, beverages are not allowed. But it does have a clock, and it says that from 1 year after the first sale of recreational marijuana products, marijuana beverages must be on the market.
Must be.
Yes, it's a no later than. Now look, the government wrote it, they can change it. They change all kind of things, but if they don't change the rule, right now, they have until October 17th, 2019 to allow our products to be on the market. Again, they won't be mixing alcohol with marijuana. That is probably never going to happen in Canada, and we think that's a great thing because we want to make an alcohol alternative. But they will allow marijuana beverages within 1 year of this October 17th first sale of recreational cannabis. So we are building a massive brewery. We're looking at a 175,500 hectoliter facility, and we are gearing up to be the leading provider and the world's first cannabis brewery, and really the only company in the world that can actually brew a beer from the cannabis plant, so that we can have those products on the shelf when marijuana legalization begins for beverages in October of 2019.
Wow, that's incredible, Dooma. We're going to leave it there for now. We'll come back to you hopefully before you go public and get an update. Thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, thank you. It's wonderful. Thanks so much.
People want to laugh because everybody's...
Wait. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere.
We're back.
We're back with
We're
more
back.
stories of horror stories.
Just say Ed's back is sore.
hurting.
It's hurting.
You only have to tell me once, Ed. So the cannabis industry, you know, like cannabis growing outdoors, cannabis in beer, cannabis in drugs.
You know what? If everybody's on pot, I think you might say the country's going to pot.
And seriously, is everybody going to be high all the time now?
You know what?
And are you high right now?
No, I'm not. I'm high on life.
Thank God.
I'm high on life. Thank God.
Me too.
You know what? There's an interview on that was on.
What was it called now, Ed?
It was an interview. It was an interview with the former governor of Colorado.
Former governor of Colorado.
Right, and he presided over the legalization of cannabis in that state.
Oh.
And they were wanting to know what his observations were. In other words, you know, what were some of the things you never thought of, and does this mean that the policing of this sort of went away? And he said, not really. And yet it's on there because it was just posted yesterday. I watched that this morning in the comfort of my bed. Yeah. And it was quite good.
Ed's bed.
Ed's bed.
Tell me, Ed, when you get out of bed, do you have Ed bed head?
Well, not really, because I don't have any hair.
You have some. You were just telling me about some device that actually removes hair for women who don't want hair.
Yeah, it's called the No-No. No, N-O.
Is this a publicly traded company?
Yes, it is.
Boy.
How's it doing? They just had a management shakeup.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's
Hairless management shakeup, or?
Well, you know what? I got to tell you, it's funny when you listen to different people involved in the shakeup. Yeah. Everybody has a different story.
Well, all right. There's a couple other news items we have to talk about here, Ed.
Okay.
Different cannabis companies in Canada.
Yes.
ICC Labs. You know who ICC Labs are?
A friend of mine's a prominent shareholder.
No, who's that?
Well, I really can't say.
Oh, okay.
Well,
one of those.
No, he owns a position.
Okay.
And I don't really want to say.
Okay, that's fine.
But I can tell you his initials.
I probably know who you're talking about.
Really?
Probably. But look at the price chart on this one. Like, what does this tell you?
Let's see here.
I'm going to go full screen for you, Ed.
Full screen.
There you go.
Is that like full lolly?
Full Monty.
Full Monty. What does that tell me? Well, I'll tell you what it tells me. You know what? Like for instance, you know, you've had a big explosion to the upside here, right?
Yeah.
Then you've had distribution.
Yeah.
And then you had a fall off, and then another nice move, but nowhere near to this level. And then it came off, and more distribution. And here we go again. And yet, it seems like the moves up now are slowing down. They're not moving as quickly.
Okay.
Anyway, so look at it. Looks all right, but
you know, all these charts have the same embedded frothiness, volatility from the January to March period.
Yes.
This is where, you know, that's where we know that we're going to get the readings and that the bill's going to pass. And then this build up here.
The bubble.
The bubble. So this is the blowing of a bubble. Is that what you're suggesting?
Bursting of the bubble. Or not the bursting, but
soft there, yes, sir.
Soft. Shakespeare.
Exactly.
Soft.
The bubble, when it bursts.
Soft. Soft, viewers, soft.
Soft. The bubble doth burst more dramatically
you know the
than
word,
that, young sir.
Sophomoric, you know that word?
Sophomoric?
Yeah, sophomoric.
Come from a sophomore?
No, I believe it means...
by sophomores?
Or it's sophomoric. It's sophomoric or sophomoric, and it means sleep-inducing. So if you're listening to someone and you experience a sort of a... There you go. Sophomore. I think it's sophomoric. Anyway.
No, I know the word you're looking for.
Sopomoric. Maybe somebody in the tech room back there might just help us out here. It's soporific.
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 So is this chart soporific to you?
Sleep-inducing?
Yeah.
It's getting a little tired, I think.
Ooh.
You know, you want to see what the next big move is going to be here. Like, it looks like we got a little sideways action, right?
Yeah.
Major explosion here.
Yeah.
Drift sideways.
Yeah. That's the story of my life.
Yeah.
Major explosion, drift sideways.
Soporific.
Then we go to sleep. Soporific. Okay, you know what? We've got another guest to join us now. And Nick, how are you doing?
I am doing quite well. How are you?
I'm doing great, thanks.
Let me adjust the camera.
I see you're having.
Hi, Nick.
I see you're having a small battle with your iPad there.
I am indeed. All right. Much better.
There we go. Perfect.
Wow.
So our guest in this moment right now is Nick Hofmeister. He's the CFO and co-founder of Range Biosciences. This is a private company, Nick?
It is a private company. We've been around for about 2 years and have raised about $4.5 million into the company from venture capital.
Where are you based?
We're in Lafayette, Colorado, just north of Denver and east of Boulder.
Okay.
All right.
So your particular focus in the cannabis, as it pertains to cannabis, is you specialize in tissue culture. And so is that basically propagating cannabis through cytokinins and that kind of thing?
It is a method of propagation that involves using sterile lab procedures to create disease-free, pesticide-free, and certified true-to-type clones. So these clones come out in the healthiest possible way, and then they're delivered to cultivators to go into their grows. We do this for hemp, marijuana, and now coffee.
Interesting. How long does it take from the moment you initiate the process until you're able to deliver a clone to a grower?
Comes to mind. Put him to sleep.
Everybody freeze. It's one of those Star Trek episodes. Everybody freezes. Well, we lost Nick there. We're going to try to get him back in a moment.
He could come back at any time.
And we'll...
I didn't even know there was a city in Colorado by the name of Lafayette.
Yeah, I know. We always thought that was Lafayette. Where is that?
Where the Blues Brothers.
Where?
Lafayette.
Montana?
No, it's the Blues Brothers. That's where they were, the Lafayette prison. They were in Oh, here we go.
Hey, Nick, you're back.
Sorry about that.
That's quite all right. Let's see, where were we? So I was asking you, how long does the process take from the start of cultivation until you're able to deliver a finished clone to the producer? He's trying to stare me down.
He's doing a pretty good job.
I know.
I'm going to blush soon.
He's looking down on me. Looks like we lost Nick again. How about that for our wonderful Skype TX system? Seems to be working like a charm to me. Of course, in the internet age, you never know whether it's Skype, whether it's your own connection, or something altogether different. Anyways, so we were going to talk to Nick, and we're going to try to get him back one more time. His company has announced as of June 19th that they have partnered with Faith and Family Farms, a 100% family-owned cannabis cultivation facility located in the Salinas Valley in California. And they are going to produce cannabis nursery plants from the company's patented Clean Stock program. Nick, you're back again.
I'm hoping that the third time is a charm. I'm sorry about that.
I like that.
Yeah, that's funny. Most of our guests, if that ever happens, they don't try to come back.
They don't want to come back.
Exactly. But no, that's great. So I'm afraid to ask you this question because it seems like it might be one of the causes of the freeze. But how long does it take for the process from which you initiate a clone process, or rather a tissue culture process, till you're able to deliver a clone product to the grower?
Yes, and I heard the whole question this time, so we can proceed. There are 2 stages to the work that we do. The first stage is to bring the plants from the cultivator or from our own library into the tissue culture process. That's called initiation. That cleanup process can take a while. It can take 4 to 6 months to get a plant into our process, into clean stock, and remove all disease, all pesticide, and certify that it is a true to type plant. It is the plant that you wanted. That process of 4 to 6 months is mainly driven by the fact that every single plant we've brought into our facility from our customers has at least one disease on it. Sometimes it's 2 to 5, all layered on top of each other. So that cleanup process can take a while. Once you're in the clean stock program, however, and we have our own varietals, we use our customers' varietals, those varietals are now in the clean stock program and can be replicated very quickly. So yes, that picture of doing it on a stainless steel rack in small containers, you can fit 9 or even 16 plants in a small 3-inch plastic cube. That means that you can multiply and replicate these plants very quickly. So you can move from 1,000 to 10,000 to 100,000 plants within the matter of months. We have about 170,000 plants currently in our inventory in Lafayette, Colorado, across both our lab and our greenhouse. And that multiplies, we can multiply that at about 3 to 4x every 6 to 8 weeks, depending on the varietal.
Wow. So I guess the only limitation then is space and manpower.
Space and manpower are the limitations. Of course, capital. You know, we always view capital as one of the constraints on the business, but in this financial market, that's not a big one. And even space is not a major constraint for our business, in that our space requirements are much smaller than they are for an equivalent growing a certain number of plants. To give you an indication, we've got about 15,000 square feet in total in Lafayette here that holds 170,000 plants, and we have not maxed out that space yet. So the biggest concern that you raised is labor, getting trained technicians into our facility. We run through a very extensive training process to get them up to speed and producing cuts at our level of quality under our requirements. But labor is one of the big limitations.
Other people lease this process from you? Is that a possibility?
It is a possibility. So far, we operate now in Colorado and California. We also have negotiations going on in Canada and Australia and a few other countries at the same time. The one in Australia is a licensing arrangement, for example, so we can license our technology to them. We're a relatively small company still at about 25 employees. So operating in Australia is difficult, but licensing our technology is very good for that particular jurisdiction. In Canada, where we're looking at is partnership there. We want to be operationally involved in Canada, and we run our own facilities or we work with partners in Colorado and California.
Models could you have under like either licensing or partnerships? It sounds to me there's a lot of different approaches.
There are, and we've actually tried a few as a company. So we originally started with a model that involved building facilities inside our customers' facilities, the in situ lab model, if you will. And we discovered that was too cumbersome to manage and didn't allow us to get the economics of scale that we really wanted in this business. And we see some of our competitors attempting that model. If you look at the rest of ag, however, this process, tissue culture, has been used for 3 decades in everything from sugar cane all the way to mint, hops, potatoes, berries, and other crops. In those situations, those are independent nurseries that deliver crops to cultivators most of the time. And they do it at the largest efficient scale that they can, on the order of millions or tens of millions of plants per facility per year. And so for us, the strategy is to build nurseries that provide tens of millions of plants a year, and we do a few of those to address each region that we need to. Obviously, U.S. regulation requires us to work independently in states and not across state borders. But in Canada or in Australia, you have a federally regulated system, and you need only a few labs to address an entire country.
Right. Can I ask you, how much does it cost you to produce one clone from this process, and how much can you sell that clone for?
Yes. So I'm going to give you some general numbers here, but what we look at in terms of pricing is that the wholesale pricing for clones in the United States in particular is about $4 to $12 per clone. That's true in marijuana, and that's true in hemp as well. For those markets, the price varies depending on which varietals you're selling. So if you have an advantage varietal that has a higher yield, for example, you can get a higher price. It also depends on the size of the plant. So we produce plants in 72 cell trays, which are the smallest plants. Those are a few inches high, 50 cell trays, which are a little bit bigger, and 4-inch pots, which are quite a bit bigger. So the price varies depending on the varietal and the size of the plant. The cost is something that is proprietary, so I won't go into too much detail, but the short version is that margins are fairly good on this plant right now. We have a market opportunity where we're the leader in the space. We are scaled faster and larger than anyone else of our competitors. And there is a strong demand for these clones. There just aren't many providers for them. So if you want a clean stock clone right now, there aren't many places to get them. In fact, we're one of the few. So the pricing in that situation means that we have a fairly good margin on our product. Over time, our costs come down. If you look at comparable industries in ag, the cost to produce these plants does come down quite a bit over time. In many examples, in long-term production, this is sub $1 per plant. So we have plenty of room to expand our margin over time and match price needs of industry.
Are you going public?
I don't have a comment about that right now. We are exploring multiple financing options, and certainly we look at the public markets as a viable exit path for the company in the long term, but I don't have any plans to share at the moment.
Okay, well let me just throw it out there that if you are interested in going public in Canada, that is where our facility here is, in the Exchange Tower. We have an entire office dedicated to raising capital and taking people public, and so we would be very interested in investing in your company at the least and assisting in your go public strategy should that opportunity present itself somewhere down the road. That's
great. I really appreciate it, and as the guy raising the money for the company, any and all comers and help on that front is always great. Would love to take that offline and talk about our upcoming fundraising effort. Okay, we'll definitely do that. Now, it strikes me that you have an opportunity here to fill a very critical missing niche in the whole cannabis industry, because we hear about all of these large greenhouses and new grow ops exceeding 1 million square feet in some cases. And that is my standard first thought is, where are they going to get the clones to fill these spaces on a timely basis in a market that is, basically overrun with demand with no suppliers? So right now, what are the alternatives? Yeah, we share that opinion. So if you look at other agricultural commodities and you look at their supply chains, one of the biggest problems, other than processing, is the beginning part of the supply chain. Where do you get your plant start from? Where do you get the genetics and the actual plant starts, the hundreds of thousands or millions of clones that you need in order to fill these facilities? So the cannabis industry has had to develop methods to do it internally, but those methods are relatively unsophisticated and come with a lot of risk. So traditional cloning, if you take a mother plant, you grow it up, you cut branches off, you stick those branches in soil. In doing so, every disease that was on the mother is automatically transferred to the daughter. And that process is what we've been using in the cannabis industry to date for the production levels we've had. It is not an industrial scale process. So if you look at sugarcane or berries or any of these other crops that are vegetatively propagated, they're cloned, they are always done using a procedure that looks like tissue culture. So they'll start with sterile, clean stock, and they'll use that to propagate. If you don't, you're exposing yourself to risk, and that risk comes in multiple forms. It comes in the form of disease actually disrupting your production. It can kill plants. It can reduce the yield of plants. It can be in the form of pesticide application and the associated costs and risks of that. And last, there's a consumer safety issue, both on the disease front, but particularly on the pesticide front. So when you see California, for example, enacting new regulation that's going to go into effect on July 1st around pesticides and solvents, it's to address that issue. If you start with dirty stock, you will have to deal with disease along the way. That will be expensive and risky. And then on the back end, the government's going to test that and make sure that you aren't doing anything to endanger consumers. If you start with clean stock, then you can run a very clean cultivation program, do not need to use pesticides in that process, and then you can produce a clean product on the back end. So when you look at a company like Driscoll, for example, our VP of production, Dr. Cecilia Zapata, built Driscoll's tissue culture infrastructure in California, China, and Mexico. And when she did that, it was to create a clean stock program that would allow Driscoll's to produce clean product all around the world at any time from the varietals that they cared about. So we model ourselves pretty closely after a company like Driscoll.
Mm-hmm. Now, the difference in size of clones you deliver suggests obviously that the plant in the 4-inch pot is far more mature and thus resilient to failure upon transplant than, say, would the one in the micro trays. So is that, am I to deduce by your previous comment of the range of $4 to $12 that a $12 clone is typically in the 4-inch pot and a $4 clone would be more of the micro tray variety?
Yes, that is correct on all fronts. So the smaller plants are the cheaper plants, and the larger plants are the more expensive ones. And you use the larger plants when you have let's call it an environment that's more difficult, or you are doing it at smaller volumes. So if you're doing a greenhouse at small volumes, for example, you may want to start with a 4-inch pot that will give you a boost on your production and the number of cycles that you can get per year. Another place where you might want to use 4-inch pots is in small scale outdoor growth. So the hemp market in Colorado has blown up tremendously here. We're looking at approximately 18,000 acres of hemp planted in Colorado this year. When you do a late planting, you want to start with more robust crops, particularly in an environment like Colorado that's very dry with inconsistent rain. So there are reasons to do the 4-inch pot. For large scale, industrial scale, mass production, the smaller plants are generally the ones that our customers want.
How easy is it for someone to come in and replicate what you're doing?
There are multiple reasons why this is a pretty difficult task. So we've spent almost 2 years of operations in our company getting to the point where we are now. And that's with a very experienced team. So I've raised about $280 million. I've been in biotech startups for the last decade or so. My co-founder, Dr. Jonathan Vaught, is our CEO. He spent his entire career in molecular diagnostic startups. And our VP of production, Dr. Cecilia Zapata, is one of the few experts in the world at this particular procedure. So she's created tissue culture processes for more than 1,000 different species. There aren't that many people who are capable of building a company like this. It's still taken us 24 months to get to the point where we are. So that has to do with the technical challenge of creating a tissue culture program for a new plant. Every varietal, not just every marijuana or hemp plant, but every varietal within that responds differently to tissue culture. And we change our processes, we change our formulations, we change our environmental conditions to match what the varietal wants. So learning all of that, obviously there's IP in that as well, but learning that and protecting that and implementing that in industrial scale takes a very expert team quite a while to do. And that's why I think that we have probably an 18-month or better head start on all of our competitors.
Okay. One of our viewers on Facebook, Ian Hendry, wants to ask a question. And he says, as a consumer, as we are allowed to in Canada, we're allowed to grow our own cannabis. He asks, will it be cost effective for him to buy from you, and will there be a way for them to buy from you, and how will it be delivered and guaranteed?
Yes. So it's a great question. And we've had a lot of inquiries from home growers about whether they can use tissue culture plants to start their own process. And it's a good idea to do it for the same reasons that it is at an industrial scale. You start with the cleanest plant. That means that you have much less chance of getting disease on that plant throughout its growth cycle, and that your chance of having to use any kind of pesticide or to destroy your crop because a disease takes over goes down. So for all those reasons, tissue culture is a very good process at home growing situations as well. So we have focused so far on B2B applications. We sell mainly to large scale cultivators. However, we have some relationships. We've built one in Colorado where we do smaller volumes of production. The price for those individual clones is higher than the $12 we mentioned earlier, but to get a clean plant that's healthy, robust, that does a really good job in your home grow, it is worth it to home growers. And the typical retail price for one of those clones from traditional cloning that does have disease problems associated with it is usually $15 to $20, sometimes $30 per clone as well. So we think that we can enter that market over time with very clean stock that is delivered to retails retail dispensaries, and then to consumers that way for home growth.
That's fascinating. All right, tell you what, Nick, we'll leave it there for now. But we are very interested in your company. We interview hundreds of cannabis companies here every month, and I know a winner when I hear one. That sounds like a winner to me. So I really want to follow up with you, and we'll come back to you in due course and help you all the way along. Thanks for your time today.
Really appreciate your time. Thank you both. Take care.
Thank you very much.
Now there is one of the missing pieces in the entire cannabis supply.
You seem I could tell that you were really interested in this.
Yeah, well, that's like, I'm serious. You hear about a 1.4 million square foot grow op starting, and it's like, well, has anybody asked the question, where's the guy going to get the plants to put in there? Because the cloning process is not, it's not...
Well, they just plant seeds, no?
Well, no, because you can't actually propagate marijuana on an industrial scale through seeds, because roughly 50% of your plants are then going to turn out to be male, and if you're trying to grow premium dried flower, you don't want male plants fertilizing your female plants and making them full of seeds. So this is why when you smoke premium dried flower, you're invariably smoking a female plant. Really? And males in general, this is a society where the males have the lowest value, except in the department of genetics, but in general, the males are killed off and not allowed anywhere near the woman. In fact, most of them are killed off before they get the scent of a woman. Yeah. So yeah, no, I mean,
you know, I should have paid more attention when I took genetics in school.
Well, that's, or maybe you paid too much attention and squandered your youth subsequently.
Okay. Well, no, I gotta learn more about this.
Yeah,
because I could tell that you seemed very interested in this. You see an opportunity here.
Well, I'll tell you what. If Bruce Linton or Cam Batley or Terry Booth or even Vic Neufeld tuned into that interview, they would be looking for this guy's phone number right now, guaranteed. So
really?
If we can help him raise
Let's give
money,
those guys a call.
Broker a deal in the middle. I think we do our best to help Nick raise some money. Maybe take him public in Canada if he would consider that.
I'll tell you one thing that I'm really happy about right now.
What's that?
When you're in the room, you're in the deal.
Well, that's right. That's right.
And where am I?
We should charge for that.
And where am I?
You're in the deal. In the chair, in the room, in the deal. Ed, you know what? We missed our 420 moment where my new tradition that I'm seeking to establish is that we talk about
the market.
Well, no, we've already talked about the market for the last hour and a half.
We have? What have I been doing?
We're talking about the market. You've been asking some very intelligent questions and making
for a change
very good case with all of these squiggles and lines, which to me are just a certain way to tell what happened in the past.
I do, you do, voodoo.
Whoa. Wowie.
Zowie.
Okay, so every day at 4:20, from this day forward, we're going to talk about a new cannabis product that is something innovative, that is something that probably most people aren't aware of, yet is something worthy, noteworthy, worthy of note.
Worthy of note.
Worthy of our note in particular as cynical, sarcastic, skeptical individuals. If we think it's noteworthy, then it's probably pretty worthy of note. Maybe I esteem myself too highly, who knows. Anyways, today's product, I wanted to discuss, and Cam mentioned this last week during the interview we had with him. What are you missing your free meal?
No, because I thought you said we'd do it at 4:20.
No, I know, it's 4:25.
Okay.
We're 5 minutes late.
All right.
Cut me some slack.
Okay.
We're new.
All right.
Anyway, so the new product is Aurora Frost. Do you know what that is?
Well, it sounds like a flower.
A frost sounds like a flower to you? Boy, I'm not asking you that question again. Aurora Frost is Aurora Cannabis. You look like I've just insulted you. Aurora Frost is Aurora Cannabis, or a new product. You know what it's made from? It's made from the crystals, the trichomes, that are typically the very frosty looking when a plant flower is mature and is covered in the frosty trichomes that actually contain all of the little.
So it's a characteristic of a flower.
It's a component of the flower at maturity.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
And if you were a grower and you had a crop of marijuana and you were picking, you know, buds and leaves and trimming and doing that, what you're doing, you get your hands covered in stickiness in your scissors too.
Oh, I know. It happens all the time.
We used to call it green crack, and that was the best stuff to smoke on the planet because it was the highest THC content that you would ever get from a plant pre the era of concentration and extract.
The frost.
The frost. Well, it was never called the frost. We called it the green crack.
But it's now that's been coined by Aurora.
Has now found a way to actually harvest the frost, as we've now officially deemed it, and they're packaging it up and selling it
at a discount or a premium. I'm going to say
I would
premium.
say a premium.
Yeah, premium.
Makes me want to get a prescription and try it out.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this is the new deal. Is that 420 each day? We're going to talk about one of these outstanding innovations in the cannabis space, and if we forget right at 420. Because we do sample some of this product every once in a while.
Now, can we get some products on the show?
Not until October 17th.
Then we can.
We'd probably not be able to smoke anything because we're in a non-smoking facility.
Correct.
We could probably eat the gummies till the cows came home, or we fell asleep, or became catatonic, or too goofy for anybody to watch. But for now, no, we will not be consuming any product on the show.
Okay.
That might undermine our credibility.
At least not overtly.
Not overtly,
but maybe covertly.
What you do before you get in here or in the bathroom is your own business.
Okay.
And as long as you keep
Excuse
it
me,
together
I'm going to the bathroom.
Yeah, okay, there we go.
No, come on.
Where's the guest? He's in the
okay.
bathroom with Ed. Ed's got the guest in the bathroom again.
Jesus.
I can just see where that's going.
Jesus.
Anyways, this week, other shows that we've got coming up that you'll probably want to hear about, assuming you want to continue to watch this nonsense from us, and I'm sure you do because you've got nothing better to do because all you're doing is sitting at home there and smoking dope like some loser. Anyways, if you're not doing that, stick with us. This week, coming up on the show, come on, calendar. Damn, my computer, I need somebody to help me run this thing. It's not working. But we have some other really interesting guests. We are going to have Mike Blady from G-Tech at some point. Who else do you think we'll get, Ed?
How about...
Bad guess, Ed. Bad guess.
I don't know. I don't know. You know.
I know.
I'm going to take a wild guess. What are the odds of me being right? I say, how about Mike Blady?
Yeah, well, that's a good call. I just told you that.
Okay. Tell me another one.
Okay, then you'll get that on your next guess.
Yeah.
That's insane.
The guest will become the guest.
The guest will become
Put a T on guest and you got a guest.
That's a good point, Ed. Let's see. Tomorrow. Oh, we've done all. You know who we have tomorrow? LGS. We have Anaconda Mining.
Anaconda Mining.
Anaconda Mining.
I know Anaconda. That's mining company. Is that Dustin or Justin? It's one of the. I can't remember his name, but he's the CEO.
That's great. And then we have Sean Pauly from Live Well Foods that just went public, or is just going public. Somebody's calling me right now on Skype.
Really?
It's kind of weird. Anyways, I think that's it's 4:29. You know what it's time to go do?
Toke up?
No. Ed, we're not doing
No, I know not.
until October 17th.
Okay.
Anyways, that is our show for today again. Sorry, but
I'm just...
You can't stop this guy. You can't keep a good man down. Don't forget to subscribe. Click the like button. Go to the website. Sign up for all this stuff. If you find a Visa button, click on it and enter your details and send us money because we desperately need it. We're clearly not employable.
And viewers, if you have any ideas for some new innovative products, let us know.
Or if you have any innovative products,
let us know.
Let us know. Come on by the show.